It's Bernard Nomberg with the Nomberg Law Firm. Wanted to take a minute to talk with you about what it's like to go to court and have your case approved by a judge. This is not the same as going to a trial. This is the time period where you have agreed to terms with the other side, usually the insurance company for the employer, but you still have to go in front of a judge to have it approved. These hearings typically are pretty low key but can be stressful for the injured worker, but I wanted to take a minute or two to kind of explain what happens so you'll be prepared when it's your day to go. You have to sign a whole bunch of paperwork. Typically it's called a petition and settlement, as well as a few other in-house documents that we have at our firm. But what we'll do is the day of the hearing, we'll meet at the courthouse about 30 minutes before the scheduled time for the hearing, and we'll sign all the paperwork. Make sure you bring a valid identification or driver's license, because most of the time the paperwork is supposed to be notarized, and we'll find a clerk of the court or a secretary or an assistant who can help us with that. We'll sign all the paperwork, and then when it's our turn to see the judge, then we'll go up in front of the judge, and you, the injured worker, will be sworn in. It's just solemnly swear to tell the truth, that whole thing. And it is pretty low key in that there's no screaming, there's no yelling. In fact, it's quite cordial. All of the terms have been agreed upon, but it's the judge's obligation under the law to make sure of two things. One, that you understand the terms of the settlement, and two, given the Alabama Workers' Compensation Act, that the terms of the settlement meet the criteria of the law. Every judge does the questions, or this hearing, a little bit differently, but by and large, most ask the questions, or they have me as the plaintiff's attorney ask the questions of you, the injured worker. You'll probably be either standing in front of the judge, or you'll be sitting in the witness's chair where you'll speak into the microphone, and we'll go through 3, 4, and 5 minutes worth of questions about your injuries and who you were working for, how you got hurt, how are you doing now, and the like. You'll know all the answers, and we'll go over all of that the day before or so before the hearing itself. The judge may ask a question or two. Defense counsel might even have a question or two. And in the end, if the judge is convinced that this is in your best interest, and by the way, that's what these hearings are called, best interests hearings, then the judge will sign the court order. Then all of the paperwork will get electronically filed into the court system. We should get the settlement check that day. Sometimes it's a little bit delayed. And then within a week after the check arriving and being put into the bank, then we can issue the paperwork and the check to our clients. So I hope that it gives you a broad stroke of what happens when we meet prior to the hearing. We'll go over a little bit more in detail. If you have any questions or concerns about how this works, or anything about the workers' comp laws, or any questions about the law that we might be able to help you, please call us at 205-930-6900, or you can find us on the web at nomberglaw.com. Also, we have a Twitter page as well as Facebook.